Welcome to Get to Know, the podcast that brings you creative careers unfiltered. I'm Morgan Williams, producer, art director, and your host. And I started this podcast because I was meeting brilliant people in the industry but had no idea what their job titles really meant. Each episode, I sit down with photographers, designers, creative directors, content creators, and more to unpack what their jobs really involve, the glam bits, the graft, and the everything in between. This is season 2 with brand new guests, panel episodes, and more honest conversations. I'm so pleased to be able to say that this season is sponsored by Capture One, the industry standard software for photographers. And if you're new here, season 1 is waiting for you. My guest today is a rising star in independent fashion who turned a lifelong love of textiles into a globally stocked brand. After overcoming serious illness as a child, she found joy and purpose in sewing, going on to study fashion, take on internships in London, and build her brand from the ground up through pure creativity and hustle. From posting her designs on Instagram to now seeing them stocked in cities like LA, Seoul, and Tokyo, her pieces are bold, romantic, and handcrafted, and her business journey is full of lessons. Let's get to know Rosie Evans. Before we dive in, a quick favour. If you're enjoying the pod, please hit subscribe. It's completely free, helps more people like you discover the show, and means I can keep bringing you honest, inspiring chats with some of the most exciting creatives out there. Thanks so much. Now, let's get into it. So, Rosie, you're a fashion designer.
Yeah.
I think that term probably means something a little bit different to everyone who is a fashion designer. So, can you explain to me, just on a really top line level, what it means to you?
For me, it's designing and making clothes. I try and be sustainable, so I do a lot of upcycling or different ways around designing to make clothes in a more sustainable and ethical way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I love how you bring sustainability so into your work. We can go on to chat about that in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think first, if we take it back to your kind of beginning, how did you really get involved in fashion?
So it's kind of an odd, long story.
Go on.
Perfect time for it. So when I was young, I always liked textiles and art and creating.
Yeah.
When I was in primary school. And then when I was 11, I got diagnosed with Lyme's disease, which is you get bitten by a tick, and but it wasn't diagnosed until a year later so it's sort of a year in my body. So I was really ill. So I didn't go to high school, or I was pulled out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
So I was at home a lot. I had a tutor who was a state tutor for kids who were ill. And she was only supposed to teach me maths and English, but she used to be a textile teacher, and she knew that I liked textiles, so she would give me bits of extra homework to do to keep me busy.
Yeah.
And she was just very nice as well, so she'd spend extra doing it, even though she wasn't paid to.
Oh, nice.
She's really sweet.
Yeah.
And then because I had so much time at home and I was just doing lots of textiles, that's when I really got into fashion.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I went back to school when I was 16 or 15 for GCSEs, and that's the age you do them.
I can't even remember what age it is, but GCSE year.
GCSEs.
Yeah.
I was doing textiles, and I just really wasn't good at a lot of other subjects. So I was doing textiles, and then my school did art textiles as well, which is art through the medium of textiles instead.
Okay.
So I was doing both of them. And my parents were always really supportive, and they were understanding that I had to get a maths and English GCSE, but I was really struggling with other subjects. So yeah. I was able to drop a lot of subjects and just focus on textiles.
Yeah.
And then from that, I did it at college, and then I did an art foundation year in Forest in South Wales, which was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to UE in Bristol to do fashion textiles.
Amazing.
And just every time there was you want to do anything else in your life? I was no.
I love how you knew what you wanted to do from such an early age, though, because I think not many people really have that. You have your hobbies, but you don't know what it is that you want to do. Was it always fashion that you wanted, as in for women, or did you kind of dabble in men's fashion or even like furniture and kind of other things that you can do with textiles?
When I first like was thinking about university when I was like sort of 17, 18,
Yeah.
I really wanted to do a costume course. There was one in Bristol, which is funny because I ended up going to Bristol, but
Yeah.
not the same course.
Mm-hmm.
That was like a really technical, practical costume course, and they only accepted like 6 people, and I really wanted to do that. But I think over like that time, I kind of realised that costume was really fun, but I didn't like having to do things for other people's briefs.
Yeah.
Like I like the creative freedom you get with design, and like kind of not to be egotistical, but I didn't like a lot of costuming work is uncredited. Like you might get paid, but you don't get. It's really rare to become like a head costume designer.
Mm-hmm. It's
And
really
then,
competitive.
yeah, and like a lot of times you can just end up working for a company, and you just may never get credit for what you've done.
Right.
Like, not that that's the most important thing, but I think.
No, but it's nice to be credited.
Yeah, and I think the creative freedom you get with fashion is really important, and it's like you can be practical with fashion, you can be really hands-on. It's just a choice you make.
Yeah.
Or like with the job you choose. So yeah, it was maybe costume, and then which has ended up being quite helpful because I sort of do a bit of costume stuff sometimes, which is quite fun.
Yeah.
And then yeah, that was kind of it. I've done like a bit of art stuff as well through it, like kind of combining photography, film, stuff like that, and also like some of my work maybe veers more into textiles, and I've exhibited at some exhibitions over the past couple of years, which is really nice.
No, amazing. We can come on more to that stuff in a minute, but your tutor sounded like she played a huge part in, you know, encouraging that career for you. What did she teach you much more other than sewing?
Not well, it was like, so I was learning maths and English.
Yeah.
And that was the only thing she was supposed to teach us. And then like
but she did the textiles as well.
Yeah, so it was like sewing, and she used to give me old like GCSE textile papers so I could kind of revise for them, which is really sweet.
Okay.
So I was like I still have like questions in the like from the papers that I can remember.
Oh,
like,
wow.
What does a nap mean? And like, what is this fabric? And what does jacquard mean? And I'm like, I've never used them anywhere in my career, but I still remember them from like doing like fake exams with her, which is really fun.
And what about your parents? I know that they really supported you. So in what ways did they help you in your career?
So I'm very lucky, like part of it was just they could afford to send me to like after school clubs, and like were able to afford to buy me a sewing machine and like things like that. But also they were very, like both my parents, very left-wing hippies. They'd hate that I say that, but they are.
Okay.
And like we were always taught to recycle and be, you know, mindful of the world and not waste. So like when I first started sewing, I was always using like charity shop fabrics, so like cutting up clothes, and so that's sort of how I got onto upcycling and sustainable. But also both of them are self-employed, so they were really helpful with things like taxes, accounting.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Sort of budgeting.
All the boring things.
Yeah, things that like you don't really get the support on if you don't know somebody who's done that. And I know people who've like started brands who've said that's the biggest struggle, is like not having any awareness of like accounts. And
100%, because they're really massive, important parts of building a business.
And like you don't really realise until it comes to tax time, and you're like, oh shit, I don't have anything written down. Whereas my parents were like, here's a spreadsheet you can copy, here's stuff like that. It's kind of sounds boring, but I really appreciate it. And
oh my gosh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And in university, what was the course that you studied at UAE?
I studied fashion and textiles. I think it's still called that, but there's other ones on the same course now.
Sure.
Because I still speak to my tutors occasionally.
What were the main things you took away from university?
I think one really good thing was friends. I made like really lovely friends in my course that I'm still friends with today, and they were all really like hardworking. I think a lot of fashion courses, people have said they didn't have, you know, they were just working really hard on their own because they didn't have as many people around them, whereas I had like a big group, which was really lovely.
Yeah, that's great.
I think like being really self-directed as well. We had really supportive tutors and technicians, but I think we were like told like what you put in is what you'll get out. And I definitely feel like that now, like the skills I learned. But also we had like really amazing studios. So we had like a really big sewing studio and a really big print studio and a big embroidery room and a massive knit room. So it was really nice having like the space, and you had your own studio space every year.
Yeah.
Like your own desk to put your stuff up, which was really great.
Yeah. Amazing.
And you
in my
felt
head,
like a proper designer doing
yeah.
it.
In my head, is it like, what's those shows like Next in Fashion? And
Yeah, it's kind of like,
was it kind of studios like that?
yeah,
Amazing.
it's really funny because Next in Fashion, like the desks are really similar, and I was like, oh my God, I remember I used to have like, me and my friend shared one of those desks, and we used to just like have so much stuff underneath it.
Yeah.
We were like so messy. Yeah,
amazing.
very fun.
Yeah, so good. So did you make collections whilst you were at uni? Was that like the main aim every sort of year?
Yeah, you had like two big main projects a year. So one was, my uni did it a bit different to others. So one was like a commercial project, and then one was like a design project.
Oh, okay.
So the commercial project was design based, but it was like they'd like make up a brief for a company.
Yeah.
And then you'd have to design like a range for it and then make an outfit for them, which I didn't enjoy as much.
Right, okay.
Just because I think at that point it's really hard to understand design processes. Like the level, even in like high street, is really different than what you can achieve when you're learning to sew.
Okay.
But it is really useful skill. I think I definitely learned like brand identities and all like marketing things from that, which was really good.
Yeah.
I think it's one, like I maybe didn't enjoy it at the time, but I benefited from it.
Yeah, for sure.
And then the other one was just a straight design project. So it was like, I think the first 2 years you'd be given like a sort of title as a brief. And there were ones you could choose from, but it was like, take what you want from this title and then make a collection and then make an outfit based on it. And then in final year, it was like you had free reign. You just had to like have a statement about it. So like,
okay,
a project I did about South Wales, hilariously.
So did I.
So cute.
Yeah.
Just love South Wales, don't we?
Yeah, I know.
So that was really fun. And like went to St. Fagans, went to like loads of little old villages. It was very cute.
Yeah. No, so what I'm kind of getting from all of this is I feel like you like it when you're in total control of the concept, basically.
Yeah.
You like to have that, like build that creative brief really yourself.
Yeah. I think I really like being able to sort of mold the world of what I'm making and like have, like not so much like full control because I'm quite easygoing as a designer, I like to think. But I like to have like the say in what the creative side is and what the taste is and things like that. Just because I think when you're doing it for someone else's vision, it's a really important skill to learn, but it is a really hard one as well.
Yeah.
And I think just doing commercial stuff, I think I would struggle with because I like to make things myself.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think all of your work actually has a really prominent, you can see that it's you in your work, and you know that from the off.
Yeah.
Which when you've got a really strong point of view, that can be hard to kind of dial down if you are designing for someone else. So yeah, I think you've probably picked the best route for you anyway. But let's talk about how you got to where you are now. So you did that in university. Were there any like opportunities off the back of university for like internships or assisting or anything like that?
So not like straight from uni. I did like a few weeks of trying to apply for jobs.
Yeah.
Straight away.
Yeah.
I think what universities need to start telling people is like you probably won't get a job straight away out of uni just because it's not reasonable. I always think it's good to have a little bit of a break from like uni straight into a really big job. Like I stayed at home for a bit and I used to do like house painting. So I used to just go and paint houses for the summer.
Nice.
Which is quite fun. And then I applied for an internship with a designer that I really liked. So I was up in London for like, I think it was like 6 months all in total. I ended up like, I think what I learned from that, it was just like we were given a lot of work to do, a lot of responsibility, which is good in some ways and bad in others. Because I think you obviously learn a lot, but you were also held responsible for things that you shouldn't have been.
Right, okay.
So I think I learned a lot of like what not to do on that job, which is really useful. And I sometimes think a bad job is good because you learn what you don't want. I
totally agree.
Yeah. It's like a bad relationship. You learn what to say no to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like you said, you learn what you don't want.
Yeah.
And it just helps you really focus on what you do want.
So I think I did take a lot away from that. And again, I've got like really close friends from that job who even like, I don't know how many years it is later, still really close with.
Yeah, amazing.
Who are really supportive.
And that was in London, you said?
Yeah.
So where were you like living during that time? Did you move up to London?
No, the first like 3 months I did 3 days a week. So I would come and stay on people's floors, or like I'd get the megabus up on the Sunday night, stay in an Airbnb on people's floors.
Yeah.
And then on the Wednesday after work, I would get the megabus back to Cardiff.
Yeah.
And then I'd work in Cardiff the rest of the week. And then Sunday night I'd go back up again.
I did exactly the same thing.
So funny.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I feel like a lot of people in Wales have gone through that.
Because I think it is just like, London's so hard to find flats as well.
Gosh, yeah.
Or like a room.
Yeah. And were you paid for that internship or was it unpaid? Yeah.
We had travel and food paid for us, but that was it.
Yeah. So I did similar internships. I mean, the internships, I actually did live up here.
Yeah.
Very lucky. Parents helped me, rent and that kind of stuff and pay for rent. But when I was freelance photographer, I did what you did and just like constantly back and forth.
Yeah.
Staying over like people's houses that I was friends with and like all of this kind of stuff, which is really hard. And like I couldn't do it now, put it that way. But I like in my early 20s, I was fine. So yeah, I think it's like everyone from South Wales, like us, it's 4 hours away.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to actually do those internships without putting in the graft like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I think the people I met, like quite a lot of people on that internship had come from like other countries.
Right.
And I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
There were a few people who are from London, or like lived in London already.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like talking about like, oh yeah, I've got my stuff in a bag to go back home tonight. And they'd be like, what? And I was like, yeah, because like there's nowhere to, I can't just stay in London unpaid the whole week.
No, exactly. In London, at that time as well, it was probably like a couple of £100 to stay for the whole week.
Yeah.
Which, when you're unpaid, it's very difficult.
And then I think the last 2 months, I might be getting it, but like for about 2 months they stayed in like one of the Airbnbs I stayed at, I was sleeping in like a spare room.
Right.
With this woman, and it was her daughter who lived in the flat, and they were really nice, and they were like, oh, because I was sort of talking about how I, be coming back in January, and they wanted me to work full time. And she was like, oh, well, if you wanted, you could stay here for like a cheaper than, I don't really remember how much it was, but it was definitely cheaper than renting. And it was like, I didn't have to sign a contract or like,
yeah, you can like
didn't sign up for it. Yeah.
That's very nice of them.
Yeah, which was really nice. And I was staying in Dalston as well, which was really nice for like way cheaper than I realised I should have been, which was great.
Yeah, I know, completely. Were there many people at that internship? In total, how many people were doing an internship at the same time as you?
I think there was about 6 of us.
Right, okay.
Interns, and then there was only 2 like full-time members of staff.
Yeah.
Which
it's quite a lot of people.
Yeah.
And what was like your title during that time? Was it like a assistant or?
Yeah, I think it was design assistant.
Okay.
I sort of ended up doing a lot of like going to factories, which I really enjoyed because you got to see what factories were like in London and where they were. So yeah, I was mostly design and working with production, which was very fun.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Talk me through like a typical day in that internship.
So it was one of the most organised internships, I'll say.
Right.
It was another thing I learned not to do was like, yeah, it was just like you'd come in, wait to like, unless you had work that you'd left the night before, it would be like, here's some job for you to do. We need this done. Or then it would be like, we need this done immediately. Someone go and do this. So it's quite frantic.
Yeah.
A lot of just being like, oh, well, I'm in the middle of something, but I've got to go to like South London. So I guess I might come back this evening.
Right.
So yeah, I sort of learned like, oh, this actually isn't very organised. I would like to work somewhere more organised, or like I would like to be more organised if I started this. Yeah, a lot of running to like PR agencies to pick up samples or drop samples off, to go to like pattern cutters to pick up patterns, go to factories to drop stuff and pick up stock. It was quite fun because I think running around London when you're that young is quite fun.
Yeah, I remember
especially
doing
if
it
you
as
get
well.
like, we had travel paid, so it's like you got to go to places in London you'd never go to like posh houses to pick up something.
Yeah, nice.
So that was kind of fun. But again, I don't think I decided not to stay because I didn't want to do that long term.
Yeah. So how long were you there in total?
I think it was 6 months all in total.
And then when that came to an end, what did you moved back to Wales, right?
Yeah. So I was like,
Or not moved back. You were in Wales.
I was in Wales.
Yeah, you just stayed in Wales.
I just packed up the bag I had in London and moved back.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I need to make some money. I have none. I don't want to like borrow any money from anyone to do this.
Yeah.
So I moved back in with my parents, and then I was like, oh, I kind of just want like to make some money and then figure out what I want to do. So I got a job at a like craft brewery bar.
Very popular in Cardiff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bougie beer bar in my hometown, which was really nice. And then I also worked at a corner shop. So I was working like 6 days a week, just trying to save up as much money as possible.
Yeah.
At the same time, I was like, I miss designing, because obviously in London I wasn't really designing. I was just like maybe doing some textiles, maybe doing like picking up samples and things, but not actually like making or sewing or designing. So I started just giving myself little projects to do. And like when it was quiet in the bar, I'd get my sketchbook out, and like when I was in the corner shop, I'd just be like reading or like researching. So that was very fun.
Yeah. So was the aim at that point just to like get some money under your belt?
Yeah.
And then focus on designing?
Yeah. So I still wanted to get a job, like a design job in London, or like I wasn't just looking at London, but at that time there wasn't any like remote work or like outside London jobs. Or it was Manchester, but I didn't really want to move to Manchester because it's just a bit far away for me. So I was like, oh, I can use this in my portfolio, or I can use this as like recent projects. So I'd just do little like, sketchbook projects, design some things. And then I started putting them on Instagram on the like, at my uni you had to make an Instagram for your work. So I already had one. So I was like, oh, I'll just start like posting stuff on there, like posting things I found interesting, or like research tips and designs. And then
so kind of like behind the scenes
stuff.
Okay.
And then I got really into like making corsets, like designing and making them.
Very technical.
Yeah, I sort of didn't really think of it in a technical way. I just like did it.
Okay.
The first ones aren't made at all well, but they are very like special to me.
Yeah, of course.
And then this photographer, Meg Winston, who's from South Wales, she messaged me, or I think we got in contact, something, I don't know. But we became friends, and she was like, yeah, we should do like a fun shoot together. It'd be really great. And her friend Charlie is a art director, so she was like, came to help as well. We never actually ended up doing the shoot. We just planned a lot of it, but it just didn't quite plan out. Something that came in the way. But she was like, you need to like do this, have fun with it. After that was sort of the end of the summer. And then I was like, I'm really fed up working in the bar and the corner shop. I need to get out because I've been here long enough now that I'm just like, you know, when you start to get money in and you're like, oh, I'll pay for this or I'll do that. And you're like, I'm actually not saving as much as I thought I was.
For sure.
I think I just need to leave. Or like I'd saved enough, but I was like, I need to get out now before I stay for too long.
Yeah.
And then never leave.
Yeah.
So I went to stay at my aunt's house, who lives on an island in Scotland, of all places. Pretty cool. And I worked at a woolen mill for a week, like 2 weeks.
Okay.
Just to see how that worked. Because I was interested. I did knitwear at uni, so I was really interested in like yarn production. And
that you just said was 2 weeks?
Yeah.
So was that like an internship, or did they take you on with the intention of staying longer, or?
No, I just sort of asked if I was like, oh, I'm going to be on the island and I'm not going to have anything to do.
Right.
Could I come? And I was like, I'm happy to work in the shop.
Yeah.
Just in exchange for like some like education purposes.
Right,
like a nice, I learned a lot about wool and like sheep and shepherding.
Yeah.
Which
that's a really interesting experience.
Yeah, it really changed my perspective on loads of stuff and like sheep rearing. I know loads about it now, which is really fun.
Go on, give us a fun fact.
So sometimes certain types of sheep with really coarse wool, they get really hot and they like shed their like the wool in one go, and it kind of comes off like a rug. So on this island, there's loads of sheepskin rugs that aren't the normal way of like getting sheepskin rugs where you kill the sheep. They're just like the sheep got hot one day and just left
and shed the rug and shed the skin, which is a rug.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Fun little
fact. That was a great fun fact.
If you like sheep, I've got loads more.
Okay, cool. So you were on this island and obviously had that amazing experience.
While I was on the island, my friend sent me an internship, like a designer had said like, oh, there's, space for an intern. And she was like, why don't you do it? And I was like, okay. So I just applied for it and got it.
Amazing.
So then I was like, okay, I'm going back to London, but I was like, I'm also doing this stuff on the side, like making. And I think I'd had like 1 or 2 friends ask if they could buy a corset or a top or whatever I'd made. So I was like, okay, I said to the designers, I was like, I don't want to do this full time. Like, I'm not being paid. I'm like 2 years into graduating now. Like, I want to do it part time because I want to focus on this as well, which they were fine with. It was quite good. I definitely had more responsibility and had like there was a much bigger team of paid staff there.
Okay.
So lots of student interns and then paid staff. And then I was the only like graduate intern. So I had a lot more responsibility, learned like a lot more, had a really good time there.
Yeah. And when you applied for that, what were you applying with? Did you have to like send a portfolio over or?
Yeah, I sent, because I was in Scotland, I couldn't come for the interview. So I just did it over Zoom.
Yeah.
Or something,
very
whatever Zoom was before.
Yeah. I think it was Zoom or Skype or something.
Probably Skype, like MSN.
Yeah.
And I'd sent like bits of my portfolio over because I remember in uni someone saying like, don't ever send your full portfolio because they might just copy it. So I just sent like bits and pieces.
Okay.
Some pages like over email.
And what's like in that portfolio? Is it sketches or is it photos of the final pieces?
It's kind of, so like a design portfolio specifically is like you're supposed to show that you can take like the inspiration, show like varied inspiration, show that developing into like colours, shapes, like designs. And then you kind of show like sketching and technical ideas and sampling. And then if you have made it into an actual design, you can show that, but you don't have to.
Okay. So it's more about the process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like a design job or a design internship, you're very rarely making actual pieces.
Right.
It's usually just being able to be like, oh yeah, I can help pattern cut that jacket or like, yeah.
Okay.
But I did end up doing quite a lot of sewing on that internship, which was fun.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was really interesting. Definitely learned a lot more than the previous one because I think I was like really good friends with the production like manager, and the studio manager was really lovely. So they would give me like quite a lot of fun tasks to do and like met a lot of people like PR companies and graphic designers and things, and they were a bit more like interested in upcycling. So I sort of learned how you can produce upcycling for like collections that aren't just like one-offs completely, or how you can sell that to a stock, like a buyers and things, because it is quite hard to sell upcycling, because they're like, well, we can't buy 20 of this t-shirt because it's made out of 2 t-shirts that are now used.
Yeah.
So they taught me a lot about that, which was really useful. And like a lot about showrooms, which nobody ever talks about, but that's kind of where buyers come to buy stuff from collections.
Yeah.
So that was really interesting.
So go on then, talk us through a showroom. So is it a space in the designer's studio, or is it like a rented space? Just jumping in quickly to thank the sponsor of this season, Capture One, the tool trusted by professionals around the world and the one I've relied on since day one. Whether I'm producing a shoot, working on edits, or reviewing on set, it's always Capture One that I'm opening first. If you want to give it a go, and you should, you can get 30% off for the first year of the all-in-one subscription with code Morgan30. It's valid until the 1st of June 2026. Full details and the link are in the show notes. Now, back to the episode.
So it's usually, it's a rented space. You get like different showrooms. So there's not really a London showroom. It's like Paris showrooms, so the big one where everyone from London goes to.
Right.
And there's like more famous showrooms, so buildings run by, I don't think it's run by British Fashion Council, it might be, but like a company run it, and designers will pay to have their collection there.
Right.
So they'll sit in the showroom, speak to buyers, speak to suppliers, speak to everyone, and try and sell their collections.
And is it that at like certain points of the year, or kind of whenever they've got a new collection?
It's usually really soon after new collections. And there's like, obviously fashion schedule is like autumn, winter, spring, summer. So it'll be after those like fashion months.
Okay. So when you say after the fashion months, has like the fashion week, so the presentation has happened.
Yeah.
And then it goes into
showroom.
It's
like everyone gets it all ready. You have like a couple of weeks to like kind of get it together, and then ship over to where you're going to. But there are some in London, and like smaller designers tend to do. I've done some in London, which has been good, because you're on like a different, if you're smaller and you have smaller production, you're going to be selling to different kind of stockists than somebody with like working with 7 factories. So while I was doing that, I also was still working on my like side hustle, whatever you want to call it. And I got an email from 50M, which was a stockist in Victoria. They had a shop there, which was like kind of like a boutique. So they had a really big range of designers, like really high-end designers, and then like people who are doing this on the side like me, or like just starting. And they were like, do you want to come in and see the space? And it was a really cool space. And then they were like, yeah, we'd love to stock some of your work.
Amazing.
So I gave them 5 pieces, and they all sold really quickly, which was really exciting.
So when you say you gave them 5 pieces, was it literally one of each piece?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it was a bit scary, because I was like, oh, I've got to give them away now.
And did you only have the one piece as well?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So they're literally one of a kind.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And then, I got an email being like, oh, they've sold really quickly.
Wow.
Would you want to make some more? And I was like, oh my God, yeah. And this was like January 2020 as well. So I didn't know what was going to happen.
Yes.
But
Oh my gosh.
So I was doing this like half and half, like at the studio half the week, at home half the week.
Yeah.
Then it was like fashion week. So I was working at that as full time. I was like, I'm happy to do that because I'm really enjoying it and like learning lots. And then the designer said that, or the studio manager told me like, just to let you know, I'm going to be leaving soon, and I think you should apply for my job. So it's me and another intern were applying, and like some people who had interned before as well were applying, or like worked there before applying.
Yeah.
That was like March 2020 when that happened. So like literally the next week it was, COVID's here, no one can come in the office, the job's gone, like.
That's such a shame.
Yeah.
What would have that job entailed?
So that would have been managing the studio, which is like So when I said about the other job wasn't very organised, this one was really good. So we'd come in and there'd be a list of things that had to be done.
Uh-huh.
The manager would go like, okay, you need to do this. Can you go and do this? Can somebody do this?
Yeah.
So it was really like well organised. It was making sure the studio, everything was getting done.
Yeah.
Making sure anything coming in and out of the studio was like catalogued and organised, making sure it was organised, making sure the interns were working.
Yeah.
And like keeping kind of an eye on everybody. So like if somebody was away, you knew where they were away, or like
just the organisational brains
Yeah.
of it all, really. Okay.
But then it was maybe, she said it was quite a creative job because you could also do some design work or like help
nice.
speak to designers and make some decisions.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So that job went,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
because there was no studio to go into because
Yeah.
work from home.
So what happened then?
So then I wasn't happy where I was living either because I was living in London at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, I spoke to my parents and I was like, what am I going to do? And they were like, just come home. Like, you don't need to stay in London if there's not a job and you're not happy where you're living.
So true.
We're about to go into lockdown.
Yeah.
Like this, it was when like we didn't know what that meant. So that could be like 2 weeks. She was like, I don't think.
Yeah, exactly.
She was like, just move out. We'll come and pick you up. So I just packed everything and left.
Yeah. And what about the stockist as well?
So they were like, oh yeah, we're going online instead. So they started an online one,
Okay.
which was very cool.
And still stocked you on that?
Yeah. So that was
Oh,
really
well, at
nice.
least that
Yeah, because
all came through.
they did have an online shop, but they obviously, because online there's like different percentages taken for shipping and things, they only had a small array. And then they were like, oh no, we're going to put you online as well. Don't worry.
Amazing. How did you go about making those pieces? Was it, did you just give them like one of an item to sell? So it was more one of a kind sort of pieces? Were they the same designs as last time or were they new designs?
It was all one of a kind stuff, which is really fun. So at that time I was getting like old tablecloths and old fabrics and like patchworking fabrics together.
Oh, nice.
So they were all really different. A lot of them were just corsets because that's what had sold really quickly. So I was like, cool. And I made a few skirts as well. And then I'd take photos and then I'd ship it to them and they'd sell from their shop. And then I think sometimes I'd ship it from where I was because they were like, it saves postage. And then they just send me all the like postage money and stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. How did you take the photos? Was it you doing it at home?
Yeah, on my phone, on my bed, just spread out. I like did not have a proper setup. It was like my dad had made me a desk out of an old like workbench and a box.
But I remember that time, even for studios, like fully fledged photography
studios.
It
was just like
it was also makeshift.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, so I worked at ASOS at the time. I was stuck in Wales because March is mine and my mum's birthday. So I'd gone home to celebrate birthdays. And my housemate was a photographer at ASOS. And I just happened to have some old photography lights under my bed in my flat in London, which she then was like, can I use these to shoot some stuff for ASOS? And literally turned our living room into a studio for ASOS.
So good for ASOS.
Well, yeah, very. I should have charged. But yeah, like it was just so makeshift. Like so much stuff for ASOS was done in people's lounges.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking pictures on your bed with your phone. Like, yeah. But that's brilliant that you still managed to like be able to do all of that through that really difficult time.
Yeah.
And actually it kept selling.
Yeah. And like got home. I remember like the first day I was home being like, what am I going to do? Because like I don't have a job. I don't have any job now.
Yeah.
I just have this like making stuff. And I was like,
just this making stuff.
It's so funny to say it now. And my mum was like, when we all thought it was like, going to be 2 weeks of lockdown, my mum was like, well, why don't you just do it for now? Because we're not charging you rent. You don't have any like outgoings. You've got all this fabric to work through that I'd hoarded from uni. Just do it. And I was like, fair, I'll just do it for 2 weeks. But then it was like I was working every day, like 8 o'clock to 8 o'clock.
Were you?
Yeah. I think more than I've ever worked. Just was in lockdown. It was so funny.
But was that like self-inflicted?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I was like just trying to fill the day with something.
Yeah.
And luckily my parents and our neighbours didn't mind me sewing late at night. But
How did you get your inspirations during that time as well?
I think, yeah, it was a lot of watching like old films
Okay.
and like reading all the old books that I'd kept and like just really going into Pinterest holes and like
Yeah.
I just love like going into a hole of like researching something weird.
I love a Pinterest hole.
Yeah. And like also I'd go on a run every morning. Everyone was doing a spring clean, so people would just leave stuff outside. So I'd just go and find like really weird
Take
old,
that.
like 1970s like interior books.
Yeah.
Like interior decorating guides
Yeah.
from like the 80s, 90s, 70s. I would just pick them all up on my run and come back with them.
You come back with like
Yeah,
a big wad.
stack of books. I was exercising a lot as well,
Yeah.
carrying everything.
It pays off, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I'd just do that a lot, which is really fun. And then when like charity shops opened again, I'd start going, and yeah, I was just like really enjoying it. And then it came to like September time, and I was like, well, I've been at home for a really long time. That like weird lockdown summer was like nobody really knew what to do.
Yeah.
So I was like, what do I do then? Do I keep going with this, or do I like start looking for jobs again? And then I tried to look for fashion jobs, and I was like, it's fuck all. It really just was so little. Obviously, because post-COVID, like loads of brands had shut down, loads of like changes had happened. Everyone was working from home. Yeah. And I was like, I don't want to go into freelancing because you have to spend so long building it. So I was like, well, I am making a bit of money, and I'd saved up everything as well. Like I didn't spend anything other than like some,
well done,
like tiny little bits, but I was really like saving money when I was at home in lockdown the most. So I saved up like £6,000 over the summer.
Incredible.
And I was like, maybe I think about moving. And then some friends had also like, it just happened that they both moved out of their flats at the same time and wanted to move in together, and they were like, do you want to join, and we'll look for somewhere. So we were like debating London, debating this and that, because they both had jobs where they wanted to be close to London.
Yeah. And I guess it would help you as well, being close to London.
Yeah, I was like, it wasn't so much about being in London specifically. I was kind of like, I'd quite like to live on the outskirts. I don't really want to live in a city again.
Yeah.
Because I think I realised London just wasn't so much for me living here.
Yeah, fair.
And then somebody suggested Brighton. I never know who. And I'd never been to Brighton until the day I moved in.
Really? Till the day you moved in?
Yeah.
You didn't even go before?
No, because it was when Wales went into like a mini lockdown, so I couldn't go.
Yeah.
And they both lived in Bristol, so they went on to view it together.
Yeah.
To drive down.
And just like sent you pictures basically.
Yeah, and they were
house.
like, it's really nice. And I was like, I trust that they wouldn't pick a gross house because they have to live there too.
Yeah.
And I got them to like film everything. So we just moved, to Brighton. And then been there 4 years now.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So you moved into Brighton, and did you continue making things in this new house that you were living in? Because I know you've got your own like little studio now. So when did that come about?
So I've had quite a few studios now. I've had 3.
Mm-hmm.
We were in one house, then we moved to another flat. So the one house had like a spare room that we were using as like a mini studio, because everyone had like a creative stuff.
Nice.
So that was really nice. And then that was like a short let, so we moved to a new flat that was much smaller, and I had already been like, I think I need more space, and I think I need to like have my own space again. So I started looking for studios, and I found an office space that was like, because it was COVID, they were struggling to find people to fill it, so they had really discounted rates. So I got like a really big room for much less than I should have. So I was there for a while, but it was run by like just really badly, the organisation, and they were like, well, the time's come where you now have to pay double because Brighton's a premier city and we need competitive rates. And then so everyone left. So I'd moved out from that, and then I moved into a new studio, which was a private studio in like this really nice family's downstairs. They ran an art gallery, and the back was studios. And very funny, it was the girl who was moving out was also a seamstress called Rosie. So they were like, just move you in.
Yeah.
And she'd made all these desks that were like perfect height for sewing machines, and like, it was great.
Fab, yeah.
So I was there for a while, and then they wanted to renovate their house.
Right. That's a shame.
Yeah, which is a real shame, but it was quite an expensive studio. So I was like, and I was on my own most of the day. So I was like, it might be nice to move in somewhere a bit more like central, maybe with other people in the building. So I was just emailing around a bit frantically. And this guy was like, oh yeah, come and view the studio. There's like a shared space you might like. There's like a fashion brand that might be moving. Come and see it. And it was like in the basement of this building. The guy was really nice, and he was like, I was trying to find you somewhere with good lighting because you said you need good lighting. All the lighting's kind of the same, but this one's quite good.
Okay.
Still in a basement with no windows, cold. It was very big and it was split in the middle, so it was a bit cheaper. And I was like, well, I'll take it. It's fine. And he was like, okay, I need to ask because I need to check with somebody else because they were also interested, and we prioritize people who are already in the building because it's like quite a good community. And it ended up they wanted it. So I was really sad because I was like, oh, I've got to keep looking. And bless him, he'd like given me other like studios to contact and be like, use my name and they'll like bump you to the top. But I was like, oh, that would have been a really good studio because like the building was really big, loads of people there. It had its own photography studio that you could use.
Wow.
And then he sent me an email being like, oh, there's a room in the upstairs studio which has windows. Come view it today.
So really it worked out for the best.
I walked in. It's like, yeah, it's got massive like conservatory doors.
Oh, wow.
It's really bright and airy.
Yeah.
There's like another textile person there.
Great.
And I've been in that studio ever since. So.
And when was that you moved in?
Like 3 years ago.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. So
yeah.
And I love my studio. It's so nice.
And is that in like central sort of Brighton or?
It's not in central Brighton. It's about half an hour from the train station walking.
Yeah. Okay.
But I say it's out, but in London it would be like, you know, it's so close.
Yeah. I mean,
it takes me like 20 minutes, lovely walk to get there in the morning.
Exactly.
It's really easy.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah.
And at least it's still in Brighton, so you don't have to travel all the way up to London for it. Or like to the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And you said that they've got like a really nice community there as well.
Yeah.
So talk me through that. Like, what other kind of creatives are there, and do you interact with them much? And
yeah, it's really nice. It's like it's been there for like 10, 15 years.
Oh, nice.
So the guy who showed me around, Richard, he owns it. And it used to be his lighting warehouse. He used to run like a lighting factory, but he didn't like it.
Yeah.
So he sold the factory, but the person he sold it to didn't want the warehouse. He was like, and I've got a massive warehouse.
Right.
So he was like, I'll turn it into artist studios.
I mean, great idea.
It's such a good idea because it's so nice. And he is really happy, like just loves being a receptionist and like chatting to people.
Yeah.
So he's always running around for a chat. And there's like lots of people who do props for films or like upholstery.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
There's a guy who does like hairdressing and art curation. So his studio is like got a hairdressing chair in it, and he also does like exhibitions there with quite famous artists.
Oh wow.
Which is he's a very interesting guy.
Yeah.
There's a pottery studios, big photography studio, and then there's like a little backdrop studio you can use. Yeah, it's really fun. Very nice.
It sounds like a nice place, like
yeah,
and as well a place for creatives to like come together and help inspire each other. And
like my friend's just moved into a block there, and she's really lovely. And I said like it's really nice being around other creatives who are like, it's their job as well, because it's quite hard when you're young. Yeah, I think obviously a lot of people can't afford to do it full time, or it's like very solitary. So it's really nice to be able to like chat with people or like gossip about things, or just like have other people in the building with you. It's really nice.
Yeah, definitely. So talk me through your design sort of process. You're in your studio, and do you design collections now that fit the regular kind of fashion calendar with multiple units behind it rather than the one-off pieces that you were doing?
Yeah, I sort of switched to do maybe like kind of 50-50 one-offs, that because that's what people really are drawn to, is like the special
I was going to say pieces. That's so special. People will love that. Yeah.
And like that's the kind of things that get attention from press, and people want to borrow them for shoots or like for performances because they're like crazy stuff. And then I also do things that are a bit more like I can make multiples of, or I can make enough to like sell wholesale.
Yeah.
Or fit bigger sizes, or be able to like have like more than one person can buy it, because that is kind of how you make the money, is being able to sell like multiples or something.
Yes, of course.
So yeah, I sort of switched that, but I still try and make sure that I'm doing like sustainable, using like as little fabric as possible, like trying to create as little fabric waste, not use little fabric, but like use techniques that aren't harmful to the planet and things like that. So a lot of it is figuring out how I can make something and it be interesting without it being like costly to the earth or to me, like finance wise.
Yeah.
So when I do like the one-off pieces, it's either like sourcing fabrics. So I spend a lot of time on eBay and secondhand shops. And really like there's a secondhand shop on my way to work that I'm friends with. So
incredible.
I get all the good pics.
Yeah, great.
Or like people donate a lot of fabrics. So I work with a brand called Sula, who are a sustainable brand, or like an ethical brand in Seaford, which is quite close to Brighton. So they send me a lot of their offcuts that are too small for anything they make, but are still big enough that I could do something with. Or fabrics that they don't use, that it's not worth it for them to try and sell off anywhere, or like it's like really nice fabric, so it's not worth putting it in the bin. For the one-offs, I try and just use old fabrics to make something exciting.
Yeah.
And then with the like ones I can make multiples of, it's like sourcing ethical fabric or dead stock, or like I do a lot of tea towel corsets. So corsets out of old printed tea towels, because I love like the vintage prints. So a lot of it is just hunting down this specific tea towel.
Yeah, how do you do that? Just a lot
it's
of
like
eBay?
again, weird knowledge of like tea towel printing companies from like the 70s.
Right, okay.
Like eBay alerts, just
Yeah.
I've definitely spent more on tea towels than anyone else in the world ever has.
I love that. But I've seen the corsets and they are really cool.
Yeah.
Like the print is
it's worth it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
The amount of effort that you put in before you've even used a sewing machine. Like there's so much to like that goes into it.
Yeah.
Is there anything more with sustainability that you do once you've like received that fabric and you start making?
Yeah, so I try and not, like, obviously if you're using secondhand fabrics, or like even stuff that's like in a collector's, you've got to wash it before it could be clothing. So I try and make sure that I'm hand washing, or like washing it with other stuff, like not just wasting energy and water, and also not using really harsh chemicals or like bleaching chemicals into the water when I'm washing stuff, because it's not good for the fabric, and obviously it's not good for the planet, and we all know about water with pollution and stuff. So that's one of them. I also try and be like really concise with how much fabric I'm using, and it is useful, like with using vintage fabrics, you have that kind of limited resources, which makes you a bit more clever with like pattern cutting, not being wasteful with seam allowances, not just like throwing away fabric at the end of it, because there's just not physically any more fabric. So you have to be really like clever and like really careful with cutting and sewing, so that you're not ripping into something and then you have to buy a whole hunt down a whole new tea towel.
Yeah, that would be
is a nightmare.
And like just put back the process by so many weeks and months. Probably. And
then also sourcing like trims, making sure that they're like from as ethical a place I can find them. So trying to find stuff that's made in the UK, or like not shipped over from China in a little package to waste time, like bulk buying stuff if I am going to have to ship it from somewhere else. And then also for like, I still do quite a lot of corsets, but I've expanded my brand a lot more. So the boning to give the corset structure, I go to Cardiff Fruit Market with my dad, and you know, when you get a big box of something, it's got that thin plastic tape around the edge that you have to cut. Basically all the crates are like done using heavy duty version of that. So I call them up the like week before and I go like, can you save me a bag of it? And they can't reuse it because it can't go through the thing again. They just give me like bin bags full of this like plastic that would go in the bin because it can't be recycled, because I think it's already been recycled. So a big process is like hand cleaning and preparing that for corsets.
Wow, that is a very innovative thing
yeah.
to use.
It's like a weird one that I kind of went down a fun route to get to.
Yeah. How did you find out about that stuff would be good for corsets?
I think my mum had seen it on Pinterest.
Right.
Like someone saying like use cable ties, and she was like, oh, you could use this instead, because she had gone to like, I think she had found some like an Amazon parcel had come with, I don't know where she got it from, but she was like, you should use this. And I was like, actually this is better than the like plastic boning you buy from shops, because it's really like, it's got a really interesting structure that's like webbed and plastic, so it kind of gives you a bit of movability.
Okay.
But it's not this like rigid hard plastic, or like not metal, which is really difficult to work with.
Yeah.
And then my dad he runs like a food co-op in Cardiff, so it's like a step between like a food co-op and a food bank. So people pay £5 and they get £35 worth of food.
Oh wow.
So he's really good friends with all the food markets, like fruit and veg markets, because they'll give overflow, they'll donate it. So he would go quite a lot. And then he was like, oh yeah, they've got loads here. Do you want me to ask if I can take some? So
your parents just having bags of this stuff in their house.
It's really funny. Like my dad sent me so like when it comes, it's just all in a big massive bin bag. And like to post it to me, my dad will go and like wind it up into a little roll and then sellotape it and then post it. He sent me a video once his friends had come round. It's him, his friends, and my gran, who's like nearly 90, winding up plastic on like a Friday night with a glass of wine. So yeah, so I'm very lucky my family is supportive in lots of ways.
Supportive. I love how much they get involved with all of it. But no, that's brilliant. I think that's so innovative, and I think finding all these different ways to do these things is just an amazing way to do it.
It's free as well, so it saves me a lot of money. And I don't mind the process. Obviously, my family help with it, but like, it's a process that I think is worth it, rather than buying loads of plastic or buying loads of metal.
And for the pieces that you like wholesale, do you come up with that design and then say to yourself, you're going to make X amount of them, and that's how you know how much fabric to buy for it? Yeah,
so sometimes it's like I'll look on Deadstock or like websites to see how much they have of it, because usually Deadstock websites will say like we have 64 meters or whatever. So I'll do the sample, maybe order like a couple more meters than I need to, just to like have a good idea, and then speak to wholesalers and say like, how much do you want to order? There's this minimum, this how much. But also sometimes I say like, they'll be really interested in a skirt, and I'll be like, well, that fabric's used, but I could make it in a similar fabric. Let me know how much you want. I'll send like a sample and you can see it. But yeah, with wholesale, it is tricky doing Deadstock or like secondhand stuff. I've kind of gone back more into knitwear as well, because that's a bit easier, because yarn's a bit easier to like find a similar yarn if one just goes. Which should happen. A yarn shop shut down and just couldn't buy that yarn anymore, so I had to find a replacement. So that's been really good. And knitting, I really enjoy it, so it's kind of nice. I've got some in my bag to take home on the train.
Oh, lovely. So talk me through the wholesalers, because you just said you speak to them quite often. I know you've got quite a few actually around the world now, isn't it? So talk me through like how each of them came up and who they are as well.
So in the beginning, I had a few like commission-based like boutiques where if you sold, that's when you get paid. So and they would take a percentage of that payment. And then I think a wholesaler from LA contacted me. I don't think they're still running anymore, but they were like, oh yeah, we're a wholesaler, we want to buy like a lot from the collection. And that's when I was still doing mostly one-off, so they bought just like a lot of it, and I did it at a discounted price. So obviously for them, they would sell it full price and then make their profit off that. And I was like, oh my God, it's so much nicer than like having to worry about getting things sold, or like constantly having to market it. And like, I would be having to like sell it myself through somebody else.
For sure.
Whereas wholesalers, it's on them to sell it. So it's kind of a nice relief with that. So I'd done that one in LA. Then I did another one in New York, which was really nice. Very stressful. It was like, okay, we want it. Can you send it next week? And I was like,
Oh my gosh.
oh.
Wow. And are they all pieces that you already have made that they're buying?
That New York one wasn't. I just
Oh,
had to
okay.
make loads,
Oh, wow.
which was really stressful,
Yeah,
but fun.
And was that for one-off pieces as well? Or was that
was
for...
like, no, that was like I'd gotten like a big load of fabric and I made like skirt and corset sets for them.
Nice.
I think this was quite a few years ago. And then after that, I think I had a few more commission stockists. And then there was one in where was it? Yeah, in South Korea. And then one in Taiwan that messaged me. The one in South Korea isn't going anymore, I don't think. But the one in Taiwan is, which is 0830 project. They're really lovely. So that was when I started, around that time, I started doing like collections with the fashion calendar rather than just like at any point. So fashion calendar, you work like a year in advance. So right now I'm starting work on spring summer 26 because you present it at the end of summer 25 so that you can sell it and produce it over autumn winter and then it's in stores for spring summer 25. So that's when I had was like, okay, I need to do this properly, I need to be a year ahead, and got those wholesaler orders, which was really nice. And I was like, oh, this is working.
How have they found you as well?
Mostly it was through Instagram.
It is all through Instagram?
Yeah, it's still my biggest,
amazing.
I do TikTok. I'm useless on TikTok because I'm old. I don't understand it.
Yeah, fair. I feel you on that one.
It doesn't really work for me. I enjoy it, but I'm like, I don't think I've really had as much as other brands on it. But it is just through Instagram or sometimes through magazine articles. Maybe somebody's seen that, but most of the time they've messaged me on Instagram and been like, yeah, we really like your work. Can we stock it at our shop?
Which is amazing. Do you have an Instagram strategy, like a marketing strategy?
Yeah, I do try to. I'm not the best at sticking to it.
Sure.
And sometimes
when you're a one-man band, that can be very difficult.
I try and do I had a Instagram media consultant meeting with somebody from Instagram.
Oh, cool.
Which was really helpful. I think if it ever comes up, you get it a notification on the app, not an email. It just comes up and says do you want to speak to them? And I was like, sure.
I haven't had one of those.
Yeah,
Instagram
just wait.
needs to pop up. Get
So that was really useful. And it was have a consistent posting. You don't need to post. There's no magic number.
Yeah.
But it's Instagram tells you what's performing well. Focus on that. Post at the same time. Post a certain amount every week.
Okay.
And what not to focus on. Stories aren't as important as you think. And
really?
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
So I did that, which has really helped. So they're useful.
Yeah. And how do you manage that alongside everything else that you have to do with running your own brand?
Yeah, it's spending a percentage of my time every week just doing that and being per day. I used to do plan it all ahead in a week, but sometimes somebody tags you on something, you're I need to share that right now, or you need to do something. So I kind of do it every day. I'm okay, I need to have something ready for this time in the evening to post it.
Yeah.
How much have I posted of this? How much have I missed? Could I post something that somebody's tagged me in? Or sometimes just I know this won't do well, but it'll space out when I need to post something important.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, it's just another thing. And then I also started doing a newsletter, which I really enjoy. So an email newsletter. So that's another marketing thing that I'm been doing.
And go on then, talk me through all of the different hats that you have to wear as a fashion designer brand owner. So obviously there's the fashion design. Are you actually making the pieces still, or do you?
Yeah, I sometimes have a seamstress come in, but my seamstress was a uni student who was taking a year out, and now she's back at uni. So I'm doing it all myself at the moment.
Okay.
But sometimes I have people come in to help.
Sure.
Help out a bit.
And then your own social media manager.
Yeah.
And obviously you've got to do all your finances and everything like that yourself. What are the other bits that you've...
Like negotiator, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Like negotiating, like brand ambassadoring, doing like, I used to do a bit of influencer stuff to try and, I think I was like, I need to not necessarily make more money, but I was like, I need to make my life cheaper. Is there any way I could do it? And I was like, maybe if I try and vlog some stuff through my Instagram. So I used to get like coffee subscriptions and things for free, and I was like,
yeah,
brilliant.
yeah.
So did that for a bit, but I don't do that as much anymore because it's not, I just don't really feel the need to.
Yeah.
But also selling my brand to other people, like sometimes it is going on, like if somebody invites you to a gallery for an opening, just to go and meet people in person, like networking.
Yeah.
And also to be seen to be networking is really good. Yeah, a lot of stuff.
A lot of things to juggle.
Cleaning the studio, organising people who come in. Like,
yeah.
I also do a lot of my friends are in bands or like performers, so I do quite a lot of styling. So I'm often running around Brighton, dropping stuff off or like picking stuff up.
Yeah. And you've done like fashion weeks and everything like that.
Yeah.
Like I think before this you were saying you had 3 fashion shows recently.
Yeah, since the beginning of the year. It was only going to be 4 and 1 was cancelled. And I was like, I'm actually quite relieved. This is one less one to worry about.
So what goes into organising a fashion show?
A lot. There's like, aside from the design and like thinking of the concept, thinking of fabrics and all that stuff, there's like organising a venue. So luckily it's been like the organisers of a show have been like, would you like to show stuff here? So it'll either be in like a group show with other designers showing their work, or it was like the one I did recently was at an exhibition that was already set up. So they had invited me to do a runway on the last day. So it was less like finding a venue, but sometimes I've had to like find venues. Then it's like finding a producer who will help me with the running of it. So the one I did at Fashion Week, my friend Angel was the producer, which was really great. They're an angel. So they were helping me like with time management, making sure everyone's there on the day. Then it's like casting models. So the one I did recently, I just did an Instagram call out to see if anyone was interested, and I got a really nice like big variety of people. Some are models I work with a lot, so like Trade and Graham, who's the old man on my Instagram list. They really wanted to do it, so I was like, that's great. But it was also, I was like, oh, it'd be nice to get a bit of a variety of new people. So met some really lovely new models, which was nice. But making sure like venues accessible, are they all able to make it? Can they travel? Are they like prepared to do a runway? Making sure that. So in the morning it was like quite a few people coming up from Brighton, so we did like a little school trip, all of us together. And then it's also things like my friend Becca's a photographer, so she did behind the scenes. That's it. I can't quite get my and then my friend Charlotte, who's a set designer, was like, oh, I want to do a set design, do you want me to do it on your runway? So she came up.
Nice.
So it's also organising that and making sure we had like sets, props.
Yeah, of course.
Music. And then lighting as well on the day. This guy was like, oh, come and do the lighting. And I was like, so he was just showing me all these presets and I was like, sure, have that one.
Oh my gosh.
And then the like practicality of running, like making sure everyone's on time, dressing, makeup and things like that. And then it's like the follow-up of like afterwards, I'm always like so disorientated and like but everyone wants to speak to you and like ask you questions. And
of course,
loads of people are like, can I get your email so we can send it? And I'm like, oh. So you kind of have to be like prepared to be doing that straight away after, and then doing things like following up images, photos, videos. I spent like the whole morning the next day just like screen recording things on my phone because like suddenly it's all gone. Yeah,
exactly. It's such a lot of anticipation
for like such a small time,
such a small
and like
show,
as the designer you never see any of it. You might like poke your head out at the end. And like this one was quite nice because I was physically like telling the models when to go on the stage, so I could actually see a bit of it. Most of the time I'm like behind a wall just waiting, or behind a curtain,
or frantically fixing something before it goes out.
So yeah, there's like a lot of stuff you have to think of.
Yeah, absolutely crazy.
So yeah, and then it's like PR. I have to be my own PR manager.
Yeah.
Invite lists, all this stuff.
Yeah. So many hats to wear.
Yeah.
We're running out of time, which is
Oh my
annoying
God.
because I feel like there's so many more questions that I have. But I really need to get to the listener round,
Yeah.
which is some questions directly from my listeners for you.
Ooh.
So, which one should I start with? I'll start with, what are your inspirations and where do you find them?
So I'm really inspired by like history and folklore. So like, especially being from Wales, I think we've got really amazing folklore history.
Yeah.
So like a lot of the old like folk tales I find really fun, like the Mabinogi, which is like an old fantasy book. I've got like a really old copy with like loads of folk tales from Wales in it that I use a lot as inspiration.
Yeah, nice.
And then also like old films and artworks and photography. I spend a lot of time on like Pinterest and Tumblr, just like Google image searching for where this came from and trying to see if it's like something I can carry on with, and like going through directors like old works and finding like interesting images. And then a lot of it comes from the fabric itself. So because I get a lot of donated fabric and vintage fabrics, there's like just crazy old stuff that I'm like, oh, this would look so cool as this, or like I'm sure I could sew that in a way to make it really wearable.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of it comes from the fabric.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And I see so many Welsh influences in your work as well. It's very much like a Celtic sort of theme going on, which I love though. Like, it makes it really memorable as you.
Yeah. And like, I think being from Wales is really amazing, but we don't have maybe as much like iconography culture as other places. So it's nice to find that in
for sure,
the fabrics and
definitely.
things. Yeah.
And you plan a year and ahead, like you just said. Do you follow trends when you're doing that? So like, do you trend forecast?
I try to. I think it's hard, especially now, because trends are so like just random, it feels like.
Yeah, that's true.
And like big brands, fast fashion can do that turnover because somebody on TikTok said that like, I don't know, wire hats are coming in and they can make it.
Yeah.
But for me, I kind of look more at like the trends that are coming in art, in music, in film. Okay. And that's why I actually learned at uni was like, don't really look at fashion as much, look at like film. And then also like global and political changes, like they make a big impact on fashion.
For sure.
So trying to like predict, and like in like recession things will change what fashion is.
Yeah.
In like weirder ways than you think. So it's like learning from the past what came after things, like what came after the Spanish flu pandemic.
Yeah.
In fashion.
Yeah.
We'll see something similar now. So it's like, it's kind of more interesting.
That's
like
really interesting actually to think about it from that point of view.
And then also like applying it to my brand, which is quite like fantasy focused, which is really popular at the moment, but I want to make sure that it's not like played out by the time the new trend pops up.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a lot. That's got to be really tricky to figure that out.
And not like being too preemptive either and putting all your eggs in one basket, because sometimes it can just change the next. Yeah.
What's been your biggest learning curve of running your own brand?
I think financially, learning how to balance that and like balancing it with living a good life, like we were kind of saying before. Now we're getting older, you don't want to be like scrabbling all the time for like loose change. And I think like how I can grow that without growing too fast and like bombing, or like not just staying the same, like trying to do everything myself, trying to like expand and do more wholesale and follow where like good like stable money is coming from. Yeah.
And what is your advice for new designers who are looking to start their own brand?
I think have a really strong, like, not brand identity, but have what you want to make, what you want to design for. Like, keep that in your mind, even if it's maybe not what's really popular at the time.
Yeah.
And then I think just make loads of friends with people you think are cool, like cool photographers, cool models. I remember when I first started, I was just on Instagram following anyone I thought was cool and would be interested.
Yeah.
And like that, you just sort of build a little community that way. And that's really helpful. Like, I'm still really good friends with people who I met at the beginning who still want to work, like help out a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, be a nice person, because that helps a lot when it comes to like people wanting to work for cheap or for free, which is really helpful even now. Like
Yeah, definitely.
getting
Yeah.
people to come aboard.
Yeah. I think networking is one of the biggest like underrated
Yeah.
things, I think. And then just being a nice person.
Yeah, I mean that we met at a networking night and I was a
Exactly.
bit like, oh God, like I don't really enjoy networking when it's like, oh, so what do you do? But we had a really
Yeah.
lovely time,
No,
and then we were like, oh yeah, we should
That's
do
the
that.
thing. When it's like a forced
Yeah,
networking event, it doesn't feel right.
no.
But when it's relaxed
Yeah.
and you actually have time to like build a genuine connection
Yeah.
with people, that's when it works, and
Or
that's when it's best.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think like doing it with people the same sort of level as you is really good, because there's no point trying to schmooze like the head of Vogue, because she probably gets that all the time.
Of course, yeah.
But if you can chat to somebody who owns like a small magazine who's willing to do a feature on you, that's one thing to stick on your Instagram or your website that makes you look pretty big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. And it's all building blocks from there, for sure. Oh, well, it's been so interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. It's so fun.
It's been really great.